We're told constantly that success requires a grueling, relentless grind. The prevailing wisdom says you have to wake up earlier, push harder, and force your way through every obstacle. But when that brute force approach inevitably hits a wall, it drags us into a psychological trap. We start feeling like victims of our circumstances, wondering what we did to be punished. Almost a century ago, long before modern neuroscience mapped out how our brains construct reality, a teacher named Florence Scovel Shinn offered a different framework. If life is a brutal battle, then the person with the most physical stamina wins. But if life is actually a structured game, the winner is determined by who understands the rules. The mechanics governing this game operate with the predictable reliability of physics, only they apply to human consciousness instead of gravity. Fighting a battle requires exhausting material effort. You're constantly trying to manipulate the physical world around you. Playing this game requires only internal alignment. People rarely suffer because the universe is actively withholding blessings. They struggle because they are unknowingly violating the hidden rules of the board. The first rule of the game dictates that your spoken words are never neutral. Every sentence you speak actively participates in the physical creation of your reality. Modern behavioral science aligns with this idea. Words act as amplified, crystallized vibrations of our internal thoughts, pushed out into the physical environment. When you constantly talk about how tired you are, how you never have enough time, or how bad your luck is, you are handing direct, literal instructions to the game to manifest exactly those limitations. To change the external circumstances of the board, a player has to first choke off the negative verbal instructions they keep feeding into it. The second rule is counterintuitive. The energy you invest in fighting an obstacle is the exact energy keeping it alive. Emotional resistance acts as a physical bind. Fear and conflict don't push a problem away. They lock your consciousness to the condition you're escaping. Letting go of a problem is a tactical withdrawal of your creative energy. It is not an act of passive surrender. By practicing non-resistance, you pull your focus away from the obstacle. This creates the required open space for a higher-order solution to enter the system. The final and most active mechanic of the game demands that your internal expectation must materialize before you see any external proof. Shinn points to a historical account of ancient kings who marched into a scorching desert. Stranded without water, their men and livestock were facing imminent death. Desperate, they received an illogical command from a prophet: dig deep trenches in the dry valley floor before a single cloud appeared in the sky. The hidden logic here was absolute expectation. The armies had to physically prove their belief that water was coming by manually carving out a place for it to go. They dug the ditches. The next morning, a supernatural flash flood rushed in from a distance, filling every trench and saving the army. You cannot simply sit back and wish for a miracle. You have to actively dig your ditches of preparation long before the manifestation arrives. When a player masters these three mechanics, speech, non-resistance, and expectation, an immediate shift occurs. The external environment is revealed to be a lagging mirror of internal decisions. Setbacks stop looking like permanent failures. Instead, they operate as strategic redirects, turning initial fear into the exact momentum needed to move forward. True mastery of this game is never about wrestling external circumstances into submission. It is entirely about managing the inside-out process of your own consciousness. This internal alignment isn't just about personal gain. It's the engine for collective impact. Mastering the rules of the game provides the stability needed to look past your own survival. This is the philosophy of service above self. When we stop fighting the battle for our own scarcity, we gain the capacity to give before we expect to receive. Once you stabilize your internal board, that energy flows into your family, neighborhood, and local community. When millions replicate these local actions, the effect compounds. It spreads one project at a time until local action becomes a global shift. Every movement begins with this same decision: to stop fighting the battle, learn the rules, and finally dig the ditches.